Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see all of you again, albeit virtually, in your various home offices and various clothing attire. You can see the world of work has shifted to leisure wear, and t-shirts. Anyhow, nice to have all of you again. This is our third session on Beyond the Classroom. And I'm very excited with the organization that we've invited to present today. ORT SA has a long, long history, and I'm not going to steal the thunder. It originates as a Jewish organization out of Forest, Russia. And it's a global organization that's represented in perhaps 40 countries in the world and been operating in South Africa since the 30s. It's an educational organization that is really committed to assisting people leverage education to make a difference to their lives and to their communities. So I reached out a few days ago to Ariellah, who is I'm not sure, the chairperson, the principal, I'm not quite sure of her title, of ORT SA, to ask if they would be willing to do a presentation in our Beyond the Classroom session. They're essentially a STEM organization. They focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. And that coincides with some of our focuses that we're looking at together with the Karabo School. So Amini Murinda is a coding and robotics professional. I think we covered his CV a little bit in the intro. And he's going to talk a little bit about, I think, the history and the purpose of ORT SA. And then I think take us into the classroom, where the brief was to begin exploring, given our constraints, both in terms of resources and infrastructure, how do we start bringing more engaging teaching and learning into the classroom with a view to better prepare our kids, moving essentially beyond the curriculum. So I think Amini's brought a presentation, so he'll put that up. We'll allow him to screen share now. And I think, again, this is a conversation. So he'll present a bit. I think he'll stop, take some questions, and let's allow the conversation to flow according to where people see, the touch points and the interest. So Amini, thank you very much. Welcome. I see some of your colleagues are on the line. We had 40 odd people register. I see we've got 15 people odd on the call. I think our practice is we're struggling in some respects to convert those people that register an interest to actually be on the call. And some of it is last minute frustrations. There is whatever, load shedding, or the hotspot is down. So many issues impact on our ability to seamlessly engage online. But we're developing the practice. We're getting better. So, Amini, hopefully the audience will grow as you present. But welcome, and let's have a good session. So over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. I'm going to share my screen. Would you please confirm, colleagues, if you can share you see my screen?
Yep, we can.
All right, thank you very much. And welcome, everyone. My name is Amini Murinda. I am a coding and robotics coordinator at ORT South Africa, as Clifford has already introduced me. So today we are going to look at the theme Beyond the Classroom that is powered by Vula Amehlo. As you can see, my name is Amini Murinda, and I'm from ORT South Africa, and our vision is to educating for life. So these are the items that we are going to be covering in this discussion. The first item is about ORT SA, and we are going to share what we do, and the ICT in the classroom, coding and robotics, forms of learning, thinking and problem solving skills, impact on learner, the impact on learners' life trajectory of the thinking and problem solving skills. Then we will have some question and answer session as we close. However, it's going to be a discussion. After presenting each section, I will pause for some questions and then we deliberate. So about ORT South Africa, ORT South Africa is ORT is an international organization that was formed in 1880 in Russia, and it was formed to flourish the desire to change. So I'm going to share with you a video later on to elaborate a lot on what ORT is all about. Then I'm going to share with you what ORT SA, that is ORT South Africa, what it is and its history. So ORT South Africa, it was founded in 1936 as Clifford is indicated, and it's a non-profit organization, and we have a variety of academies that I'm going to share with you in a moment. Should you wish to know more about ORT South Africa, you are welcome to visit our website, that is www.ortsa.org.za. So I'm going to share with you a video to elaborate what we do as an organization. Thank you so much. I think you have, from the video, you have seen the impact that we have made in the communities and some of the projects that we do in communities. So in the ORT SA organization, we have three main academies. The first one is IT Academy. The second one is STEM Academy. And the third one is Skills Academy. So I am from the STEM Academy, and I'm going to look closer into what we do in STEM Academy, which is also related to the theme that we are driving today. So under STEM Academy, we have the following programs. We have leadership and management. We have mathematics and LEP program, learner enhancement program, learner empowerment program. We have maths and science second chance for the students who would have not met the requirements for university entry. We give them a second chance, we train them, and we empower them to achieve higher marks. Then we have the IT bridging course, where we train ICT related content. I'm going to touch on ICT related content in this session. And also we have robotics and coding, which I am also going to dwell a lot on. So I see the 21st century classroom. Is we all know that the learning environment or the classrooms, they have been the same for almost a couple of centuries. And due to circumstances, the classroom environment has been disrupted by technology. And there are so many advantages that come with technology in the classroom. So one of the advantages is that learners adapt to diverse learning styles. What do we mean by that? So learners are going to learn to use most of their senses to learn. This is sense of hearing, sense of sight, sense of even listening and so on. So all those senses, when we engage using the current technologies, our learners benefit a lot on using those diverse learning styles. And also the classroom will not be looking the same. We're talking about virtual classrooms and different kind of classroom, blended classrooms, flipped classrooms, and so on. So the learning styles are also changing from the traditional way of learning that we used to do. Number two, we boost the student motivation. Looking at the 21st century student, the students of this century, they are more into technology. They use devices most of the time. So with the 21st century classroom, it is going to be motivational to the learners to attend their classes on digital devices, doing their activities, classwork, their drawings, their graphics, and anything else that they would like to do using the digital devices. The third one is that it enhances the material being taught. So the material being taught, looking at the resources that are used to enhance teaching and learning in the classroom. There are so many resources online that I'm going to share with you in the next slide, that you can see how powerful the 21st century classroom is. So on the slide, you can see so many items appearing on the screen. However, they are summarizing these three core benefits. Let's move on to the next slide. So these are technologies in the classroom. So we have different kinds of classrooms that we have this day because of technology. Like I mentioned before, we have flipped classrooms, which is also related to blended classroom, where learners can be given videos of a teacher teaching before the lesson. And also the lesson can be shared after the lesson has been done, or maybe the practicals have been done. So that is flipped and blended classrooms. And then we have the virtual classrooms, which is very, very common. I think COVID has pushed us out of our comfort zone, and we have been so creative out of that. So we, majority of us, we have migrated to virtual classrooms like we are doing currently. We are holding this webinar remotely or virtually. So these virtual classes, they have so many resources that learners and teachers can use for assessment, lesson planning, lesson preparation, lesson delivery, and any administrative work that the teacher may want to do. Also, we have learning management systems. We have a couple of them. The most popular one that we use as an organization is the Google Classroom, which is very, very powerful. And we're also looking into Microsoft's package for teaching and learning. So the learning management systems, they really help a lot with the content preparation, the learner assessment, communication with parents, collaboration with peers, be it teachers or learners. So that's what the learning management systems help us with. And there are so many other examples of learning management systems. There is Nearpod, there is also Moodle. There are so many that we can find, and some of them are free. We have content management systems. The content management systems, the likes of websites, whereby we go to different websites and access some content from the different websites. And we talk of blogs that are educational. And we also talk of weeks, the TED weeks that can be used to create classrooms and to engage with learners and so on. So the content management systems, that's where you post your content and then your learners will visit the platform and get the notes or content or questions for discussions and so on. Also, there are so many other features that can come with content management system, the collaboration that learners may do and discuss. Then we have learning suits. Learning suits, the most popular one is the smart learning suit, the one that works with the smart boards that are in our ICT schools. So this is a learning suits. They also allow collaboration, and learners can use the learning suits remotely with their teacher. The teacher can put some activities on the platforms, and learners will be able to attempt those activities remotely. And most of these learning suits, they also have the elements of gamification, whereby learners learn as they play. The next pillar that we have is e-learning. To say under e-learning, we have computer managed learning, computer assisted learning, synchronous learning. Synchronous, that is the live one, whereby you engage in a live lesson and you'll be able to discuss. Learners can send video clips, they can send audios, they can talk to you live, or even sending some text. We have asynchronous, which is the opposite of synchronous, whereby you can put content, especially on the learning management systems. If you use only the learning management system, usually some of the learning management systems, they allow you to make your learners synchronous or asynchronous, whereby you leave content and then the learners can work on the content. For example, the usage of asynchronous learning, online learning, is when learners are given assignments with some due dates. Then the next one is fixed e-learning, then adaptive learning. Adaptive e-learning is whereby learners are assessed by the system, and the system will pick the level of the learner. The learner is going to be getting content depending on their level of understanding. For example, a learner might be in grade 7, but the IQ level is in grade 3. Then the system is going to nurse that learner until such a time that the learner is at the desired level. So there are so many other e-learning concepts, like collaborative online, individual online learning, interactive online learning, linear e-learning, and so on. Then lastly, we have resources. What do we have under resources online? There are a couple of resources. First one is the digital textbooks. Digital textbooks that are interactive. I believe you have seen some textbooks that are interactive, and they have audio, they have animations, and the buttons are also having some commands, drag and drop functions, especially for the workbooks, the DBE workbooks. If you have seen some of them, they are digital textbooks and digital workbooks that we can find online, whereby learners can play, can listen, and learners can drag and drop, they can image and do all these kind of activities. Then there are also communication tools. We have the audio, the video, the messaging, and the calling services that we can use for instant communication, or even the emailing, the emails, they can be also used for communication purposes. And we also have collaboration tools. When we talk of collaboration, we can talk of video conferencing tools. We can talk of office suites, especially the ones that are hosted online. For example, we have Google Office Suite, where we have the Google Docs, spreadsheets, slides, and so on. And then we also have Microsoft 365, the one that is online based. All these all the products or tools, they are used as collaboration tools, whereby learners can type can brainstorm and type their minds or their ideas on one document, and they can discuss and so on. Then we have also assessment tools. We have a pool of assessment tools that are found online using quizzes, forms, whereby a learner can do some activities, and then the learner will get immediate feedback. And the same feedback can be communicated to the parent, and then the teacher can have the analysis or the reporting or analytics of the activity, who did well, who is struggling, where, and so on. That can be done online. We use online using the assessment tools. Then we have simulations. Simulations, the most popular one is the PHET simulations. They are existing already, and most of them, they're educational. Should you visit some of the website, you'll be able to find some there on the simulations. So simulations is like the animations. When we are talking about, for example, we are talking about shapes, the 3D models. When we saying the nest, it will be the net will be shown, and the 3D solid model will be shown, and you'll be able to see everything properly. Then we also have the storage facilities. We have the iCloud. We have the Google Drive. We also have the OneDrive by Microsoft. We have Dropbox. There are so many online storage facilities that we now have on internet, and the documents can easily be shared to any collaborators or any recipient that you wish to share with. So I have touched on office suites, especially when we're talking about collaboration. So the next item is whiteboards. So whiteboards, these are also tools that are used when learners and the teachers can write on the same board virtually. So, and the learners can deliberate, make correction if someone makes a mistake on the board, and correct each other and collaborate just like that, using smart boards, so they can manually write on the smart board. Then we have professional resources for teachers, which are the teacher communities, where teachers meet and discuss. We have blogs for teachers and some professional development courses that are provided by some service providers, the likes of Microsoft and Google itself, and some other service providers. All right, so before I proceed, I'm going to pause here for some questions on ICT in the classroom. Should there be any questions or any comments? I am now going to ask the audience to please ask. I hope, Clifford, you are going to assist us as well in handling that. Thank you.
Sure, happy to. I think if anyone wants to make a point, you want to just raise your hand. But I see, once again, I can see a picture of Wandi in the bottom of my screen, and I know ORT is actually working with you, Wandi. Is that right? Wandi?
Good afternoon. Yeah, no, I'm working with Amini very well. I think he has been with us for the past 3-4 years. We are glad that they've chosen to work with us, and I'm sure even now we're working very cooperatively. Unfortunately, the rest of the presentation, I listened from it when I was driving, because I was from work. You know, the system at work is not very strong. So I could not hear a lot, but I'm very impressed with the knowledge that he has. I know this man is a very great man. He has got so much to offer. Amini, thank you very much, sir. I'll come back with a question later.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So Wandi, you've introduced another element. I mean, I'm actually amazed. It's been a long time since I've looked at all of the elements where tech is beginning to disrupt or add value to the classroom. And I think Amini's presented like a very comprehensive overview to the types of resources that are available. But you've just added one, you know, listening while driving. So, you know, you've even taken education in tech outside the classroom to while you're driving your car. I'm assuming we're going to see an increased number of accidents while teachers are listening to lessons and driving at the same time.
Now, I was very careful. I was just listening. I was not watching. So the slides, I could not see his slides, but I was peeping a bit, but I could not see as much as I could have.
All right, that's not something.
I'm okay now. I'm at home now. I can see now.
All right, it's not something you should be admitting to, like peeping while you're driving. Anyhow, is there anyone who wants to just ask a question before Amini proceeds? I see Ariellah, you've joined the call, and Dale, both from ORT SA. So welcome, guys. Do you either of you want to chip in, or should Amini just proceed?
Hi, thank you, Clifford, for having us. No, Amini's got a lot more to share, so we're happy to listen. Thank you.
All right, Amini, so let's carry on. We'll take questions. You know, if anyone wants to ask while he's talking, just raise your hand. We'll pick it up, and we'll shift into conversation at that point. So, Amini, please carry on.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So, and in the next slide, we are going to look at ORT South Africa coding and robotics. On the screen, what you see are the courses that we do. We have developed a curriculum starting from the foundation phase up to the FET phase, and we do both virtual and authentic coding and robotics programs. As you can see on the screen, then the target teachers and learners that we work with, we are open to any discipline, be it from arts or sciences or mathematics or any discipline. Teachers are free to join. And the duration of our courses, they are 1 year long, and our courses, all of them are SACE accredited. So, and on the right hand side of my slide is video from one of our end of year function event where learners were competing. So let me just give you a background on the competition to say, at the end of each year, the learners asked to look for a problem to solve in their communities, and the problem solving aspect of our coding and robotics. So after identifying that problem, they will use design thinking skills, computational thinking skills, and also the coding and robotics skills to solve that problem. And at the end of the year, they will be asked to present that and compete with other schools, and they usually offered a trophy and some awards. So let me get into the video so that you can have a look at it. Please enjoy. Just a moment. Let me play.
The objective of this initiative is to expose IT skills to the learners, especially those from disadvantaged communities within our province. This can have a profound impact in helping our pupils apply and design technical skills by constructing physical modules, which we have seen here, to solve real life problems. I must say, I'm blown away. It pleases me to announce that the automatic garden irrigation system.
Our project is water garden system that uses automatic irrigation system. It is a project that will automatically water itself at a certain period of time. It is a pipe connected to microbeads and sensors. The programmed sensors will sense the dryness of the soil and lead to the direction of the microbead. Then the microbead will be activated and automatically water the environment.
So for coding, we have the mind escape.
We all know the issue of death that takes place in the mind. So to end this issue, me and my teammate have decided to design this mining escape system.
Check this out. If I put my head here, it will sense that there's a movement happening around the door of the elevator and it just opens up. Can you see that? Oh, right, isn't it? So
for robotics, the winner there is the ant letterbug. We use the ultrasonic sensor. It is used to sense the distance from the object to the robot. If the robot is going to hit a wall or an object, it is going to turn automatically or stop automatically. And we also use the bigger arm to take the dustbins from one place to another. Like maybe it takes dustbin from the community to the dumping center. And we used this small hand to pick up the papers, plastic and bottles to the dustbins.
we want to say you are making this to happen for the future generation. And you are making it now. You've already started.
What I've witnessed today was really a characterization of an innovator's journey. All your students today have gone through the journey of becoming an innovator, from the problem to the idea to the design, the assembly, the coding, and most of all, the actual presentation. The first prize, it would be the table 17, the irrigation system from the high school. Logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. And I've seen both of those concepts applied today. So the second prize goes to the fire alert system. The fire alert. So the third prize goes to Mine Escape.
And for the first place, and as the choice awards of the audience, it's mathematics helping second place, communicating clear code, Mine Escape system.
All right, thank you. I hope you have enjoyed the video and you have seen some of the projects that we did with the learners, and you also I hope you enjoyed the creativity that the learners showed in their presentations. So the next item is going to be on the impact that we have made in the communities. So in 2015, that's when we started the coding and robotics project, and we started with one school in Tembisa, in the townships, and there was only one teacher who was involved and 6 learners. Then in the following year, 2016, we because of the demand of the project, because it was also recommended by the district, the Johannesburg East District, to say this is a good project. So more schools also came into the picture, and we had 6 schools with 12 teachers and 60 learners. As you can see on the table, the numbers kept on increasing each subsequent year. In 2019, we also have the coding clubs within 23 schools. The number of teachers 116 and number of learners 633. And for the Google CS, Google CS first, we have 27 schools that we impacted, and the number of teachers, there are some teachers who were also empowered, as well as the yes interns. So there were 161 interns and 61 teachers, and the total of 3,000 learners. So the total, as you can see, is at the bottom, the number of schools and the number of learners impacted up to this date. And the average of female in the ORT SA coding clubs is at 64%. So looking at the gender balance in the IT industry, we are trying to drive that inequalities to balance the equality in terms of the IT industry gender balance. And the gender distribution, primary schools, it's at 50-50, then high school, that's where we are making a lot of impact in terms of the gender distribution. So looking at the impact in terms of STEM, in particular, we're going to be looking at mathematics average marks. So the first one on my left is primary schools. So we have the non-participants, the average marks, and then we have the participants' average marks. Let's have a look at primary schools. So the non-participants, the average was 65.2%, and the ORT SA empowered the coding team. The average was 73.3%. So as you can see, there is an improvement in terms of, there is a significant improvement in their performance. These results, we believe they improved based on the skills, the problem-solving skills that we give to our learners, the computational thinking skills, the coding, the design thinking, and so on. So they use those skills when they solve different problems, even in the classrooms. And then we have the next one is high school non-coders. So with the high school, we looked at the impact that the improvements in mathematics marks from the previous year. That was 2018. The average was 34.7%, and 2019 the average was 39%. So this was the impact that was made by the school itself without an intervention of ORT South Africa. Let's now have a look at those who were doing coding from 2018 when we started into 2019 and see what happened. So this was 2018, it was 31.8, the average, and then after the intervention, that is 2019, it was sitting at 47.9%. As you can see, there is a significant improvement, and there is also a correlation between the skills that we give them and the results that they attain in the STEM subjects. All right, so if there are any questions on what we do, you may ask, you may raise your hands and so on. In the meantime, I'm going to proceed and move on to our response, ORT South Africa response to COVID-19. So as we indicated that the organization was initiated out of necessity, and we are always adaptive to change. So when the COVID hit us, we immediately after the COVID hit us, I think it took us only a week to establish virtual classes and to continue doing our trainings with the teachers as usual. The same way we're training them in face-to-face, we transformed that to a virtual platform with all the benefits that they were expected to get, and the goals as well. So we now transformed our academy to STEM Virtual Academy because of COVID-19. It actually pushed us from our comfort zone, and we created this Virtual Academy. And you know, COVID on its own is the one that accelerated the disruption of the digital technologies. We were so slow in evolving rather in terms of technology, but COVID-19, it actually accelerated and pushed us to use technology more than before. Then we were also pushed out of our comfort zone, and also our teaching model, we didn't change from it. The model whereby we train teachers and then the teachers will train the learners, while the ORT South Africa facilitators support them. So the same model is being sustained, and all the projects that we have done are also being sustained in schools, as the teachers have been empowered to train their learners. All right, so I'm going to look at some theories or ideologies around education, and I'm going to look at how these ideologies are related to what we do. So there is an ideology from Jean Piaget, and he's saying the principal goal of education in schools should be creating men and women who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. Men and women who are creative, inventive, and discoverers, who can be critical and verify, and not accept everything that they are offered. So looking at the history of education, we were taught to repeat some theorems and some other stuff that have been developed by others or invented by others. But now we're saying that we need to give our communities resources so that they can become discoverers and inventors as well. Let's look at what we do as ORT South Africa. So before we look at the gist of the different skills, we are going to look at the different learning types. We have the project-based learning. So project-based learning itself is whereby the learners are are given a project, or they look for a project in the community, a real life problem in the community, and they use their skills. They use their skills that they would have attained in their academic subjects to solve that problem. So project-based learning, it can be applied at any level in the education system, and it envisages all the knowledge, the knowledge skills that we see on the right-hand side, the factual knowledge, and procedural knowledge, conceptual knowledge, and the metacognitive knowledge as well. So when learners solve a problem, they are going to use science, they're going to use mathematics, they're going to use in different kinds of knowledge. I see a lot of messages coming in. Over to you, Mr. Clifford. Thank you.
Yeah, Amini, what I was going to add, I think this is really an interesting section for us, because I think up until now, you've been talking about technology in the classroom and the use of technology in disrupting education as we've known it historically. And I think we all know in our schools, we face certain barriers to achieving this disruption because it's an issue of resources. It's an issue of internet connectivity. It's an issue of devices. It's an issue of actually having access to the technology. But what I would like about this slide that you're putting up, which is why I just wanted to talk now, is a lot of these learning types that you are touching on in this slide and as we go forward has nothing to do with technology. A lot of these methodologies and modalities can be applied to any teaching practice in the classroom, and it's not contingent or dependent on technology and or connectivity. So what I was just thinking is that as we talk through this and everybody is thinking about it, let's take this on board that it's not technology dependent. So it's not an issue of resources and it's not an issue of connectivity. So maybe as you present and other people want to come in, we can talk about how to introduce some of these themes into our conventional teaching practice, even just to expand, like Piaget says, that we want our kids to be problem solvers, to be able to prove and disprove things, as opposed to just repeat by rote what we tell them in the classroom. So I just thought this is like quite interesting because it shifts away just from talking about technology. So unless anyone else wants to add, please carry on.
All right, thank you very much for the addition, Sir. Just to add also to say, also the technology can play a role to improve on project-based learning, whereby learners can also do researches online, they can also collaborate with learners from other countries as well, just to add up on how to augment the project-based ideology to technology. So there is also problem-based learning, where learners can be given structured or unstructured problems, and they will be asked to solve, or they can look for problems in their communities. Then there is experiential learning, where learners are going to use the experience, the knowledge that they have learned, so to gain some more knowledge and explore further. Then we have challenge-based learning, inquiry-based learning, and game-based learning. I think those are some of the types of learning that, but they are self-explanatory. So I think I've touched everything on this slide, unless if there are questions, I will be prepared to take. Else, I will move to the next slide. All right, so look, based on the different types of learning, this is what we looked at to address to give a change to the way the teaching and learning happens in schools. So we have the skills logical framework for authentic and virtual, structured or unstructured problems. So these problems can be authentic, something that can be solved, whereby learners can develop physical product that is tangible, or they come up with a virtual solution, be it applications, websites, or games, and so on. So the first item that we have is a question or a problem. And then we have learners who are not in STEM. And then we have learners who are in the STEM field. And what we are saying is that these design thinking skills, this skill can be used by both learners from STEM knowledge, STEM department as well as non-STEM department. I'm going to show you a slide where I expand on the design thinking. And then we also have having coding to solve a problem. We can use coding skills to solve a problem that will be given to us or that we identify in our communities. Alternatively, we can use the computational thinking skills. I'm going to expand on the computational thinking skills, since I do not have a follow-up slide on that. So under computational thinking skills, that's where we have the algorithms. Those are the logical steps. And then we also have the decomposition, where a problem is broken down into small chunks or pieces, so that it will be easier for learners to solve. And we also have abstraction, which is the last one, abstraction, whereby we leave all the information that we think is not necessary. So I think I've mentioned 3, that is the algorithms. Then the one that is missing is the pattern recognition, where we generalize. After making some analysis and solve a problem, we also generalize. If I would be talking of mathematics, I would be talking of a general formula. Then after that, the learners are expected to come up with a prototype or a model, as you could see in the video that we played. Those are prototypes, or they can come with drawings or applications or anything else. Why are we doing this? The end goal is, or the end solution is to drive them towards careers that are related to IT, and also to become entrepreneurs of tomorrow as they become inventors. Should there be a question, please feel free to ask. So here I am expanding the skills logical framework, where we have the problem design thinking. I'm going to read with you here why problems exist: empathy, experimentation towards innovation, solution, understand the intent or a problem before looking at any solution. That is what design thinking entails, but I'm going to break it down with an example as we proceed. And then we have computational thinking, that a set of instruction would be drafted, tested using relevant academic knowledge. Then we have the programming or the coding. This is the process of giving instructions to machines to perform a certain task, be it with intelligence or without intelligence, like repeated duties. And then with all this, we will be balancing our equation of the solution of the future. So in this case, I'm going to look at design thinking. I'm going to use an example of a project that the initial project that was developed by the learners in Ivory Park. The example, project, it's called a traffic light, you know, the ones that we wrongly call robots. So the background of the project was that some learners were getting late because of traffic on the road, and also the chances of learners being hit by cars. So there was a concern about the usage of the stop and go boards that we used in schools. So which skills or which traits did they use here? The learners themselves, they took themselves into the shoes of those learners, the prefects who stand by the school gate. So that is the empathy part of it, whereby they were really worried to say, what happens to this person? We are doing morning work in class. What is happening to the people who are standing outside? And those learners who are at risk of being hit by cars. And then they looked at the problem and redefined it. And they looked at the ideas and developed a prototype, and they tested to see if it is working. So I still remember at first they only controlled the lights, the traffic lights for traffic only, not for the learners. And they realized that the learners were still at risk, and then they put a light again. So they were going back and forward, in trying to solve that problem. As you can see, those arrows say you revisit your idea and so on. And later on, they decided to say, well, how about we use the stop and go bars together with the traffic lights, so that when the traffic light is red, the cars are stopped by the boom that is a train stop. So these are the design thinking skills that we empower the learners with to solve such a problem, together with the the computational thinking skills that I mentioned, as well as the coding skills. So they use the equation that we see in this slide to solve that problem. So from our experience, teachers and learners' life trajectories, we realized that school children are very innovative and could do more if coding could be a part of the curriculum as early as possible. And also computational thinking skills are really key to the learners' performance and their everyday life. Then authentic learning, when learners learn through doing, it is very, very important. Then learners' retention in coding clubs. So here we realize that other than learners dropping out, more learners were eager to join into coding clubs as they could see amazing ideas in automation. Then we also look at teachers from other disciplines, because when we talk about coding, it looks like it's difficult and it belongs to people, to teachers or people who are good at sciences or STEM subjects. However, it is something that is really friendly, and according to our analysis, teachers from the non-STEM departments, they do really well. And we also have the coding and the robotics skills gap in teachers. So hence we also empower teachers to prepare them for coding as it comes into the curriculum in the near future. And we also have voluntary participation versus commitment from the teachers. So teachers, they volunteer, we do not say make it compulsory, and they end up owning the project and the programs. Then the impact to learners, we have the 5 E's of deeper learning: engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate. So these are some of the impacts. And then we also have the 21st century skills of collaboration, problem solving, critical and analytical thinking skills, as well as communication skills. So these were the impacts. And this concludes my presentation, and I open the floor for questions, inputs, additions from my colleagues and the floor at large. Thank you. Over to you.
Amini, can I ask you maybe just to go back and leave the last slide on while we have the conversation? Can you combine both of those in one slide, the 5 E's and the 21st century learning?
Okay.
Yeah, leave it like that, maybe. Leave it like that.
Like this. I wanted to remove.
I think so. If people can see that. So, firstly, thank you very much for really an interesting presentation. And as Maureen was saying in the chat, we've got a few celebrities on this call. I can see from the video you were showing. Maureen was in the video. Ariellah was in the video, and I think even Wandi was in the video. You know, at your presentation. So. We've got a few celebs on this call. Welcome to all of you. My feeling is this slide sums it up, because I just want to go back to the point I was making around some of the constraints we face in terms of the investment in our schools, in technology, connectivity, and the training of teachers. But having said that, the impacts that you describe on learners here are impacts we could take into the classroom in terms of trying to achieve this in whatever lessons we are approaching in the classroom. So I want to throw open the discussion on that basis and throw it open to anyone who would like to contribute or raise a point. If you would like, I'm monitoring all of you. If you'd like to talk, just raise your hand and the platform is all yours. Maybe we should invite Maureen, as she is a guest from the GDE, and we'll put her on the spot. Maureen, would you like to just add something? Okay, let's just carry on. Oh, there we go. Wandi, no surprises. Wandi's put his hand up. You have to unmute yourself, Wandi.
I just wanted to comment and greet Mrs. Maureen. First, I wanted to commend Amini for a very powerful presentation. I thought we knew what ORT was doing, but I can see that there's still a lot that we're going to learn. Yeah, I heard you speak, Clifford, about himself. I was talking about because of the robotics and the use of technology and coding, we're keeping more learners at school. But I'm saying even those learners that we are keeping at school, you know, we have turned them around so quickly. Their self-esteem is so high. We have created leaders out of them. These kids can solve any problem because they've been trained and been told that even when you are a child, you can still solve the problems, no matter how big they seem to be. I'm very thankful that we speak about creative, critical thinkers. This has enhanced that with our own learners at school. Since the ORT SA came to our school, we really feel honored that the school looks different. Now it looks like we are a private school of some sort in a township. But I want to thank you, Murinda and Paul, and the rest of the team of ORT South Africa. Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah.
Hi, Maureen. Over to you.
Hi, Clifford. Good to see you. You just caught me napping, but I'm fully participating. And how's ORT SA team, Ariellah and Paul and everybody that's there? I just want to say I want to confirm what was put on the presentation. A number of schools in the Gauteng province had gone through the coding and robotics, which is one of the programs I really enjoyed with ORT SA. I've seen the commitment of the team in getting the learners being prepared, with the skills of the future. So as you rightfully indicated, Clifford, that it's not always dependent on technology or so, but it's learners being equipped with skills to become more practical, learn more based on projects. What they learn in theory, it gets translated through projects, and coding and robotics has really demonstrated the ability to help the learners with those skills. And I'm just hoping that post COVID-19, we will in full speed with ORT SA continue where we started. But yes, there is great opportunity, as you know, that in the GDE, Clifford, we talk about multi-certification of learners by the time they complete grade 12. They've got additional certificates other than passing matric. And skills like coding and robotics, we put that as a priority. And I think we're just waiting to get back normally and get the schools to run. It's quite exciting. ORT SA is one organization that can be supported because it's making a great impact. And Clifford, thanks for your passion. It's just getting bigger and bigger every time I listen to you talking. Thank you so much, and hi to everybody.
Clifford, may I say just one word?
Who's that? Ariellah, before you do,
yes.
A month ago, we hosted Design Thinkers on this very same platform. And I'm really interested to see, on Amini's slide, that, what lies before moving, let's say, to writing the algorithm and the coding is essentially the concept of design thinking. And I'm thinking what you guys need to maybe consider, and maybe we can talk about, is how some of the problems that you have developed for the kids to apply their minds to solve could also be used in a non-technology background. Now, I know the goal and the objective, of course, is to get kids to embrace coding and understanding that technology is the way of the future. But the foundation of that, design thinking and problem solving, is also at the center of what you're doing. So maybe we need to talk about how even just design thinking can be spread more broadly, even if it doesn't get to, the stage of coding. But now I'm handing back to you.
I know, I just wanted to mention that Amini described the impact that was made in the schools, and it would not have been possible without the team of the GDE and led by Maureen. Maureen, it's been incredible working with you. That impact that we made and the support that you gave us was, I don't know how much the schools actually realized that without your support, we wouldn't have been able to achieve what we achieved. I just wanted to say thank you. I tried to contact you because you kind of disappeared, so I just have an opportunity to thank you in this. Sorry, Clifford, for utilizing this platform for that.
No, that's the power of technology, is we reaching out to people who are elsewhere. But like Maureen, you got to watch out and not be caught napping. You think you can hide behind a video screen that's not on, and then the question comes your way and you're in the kitchen making tea. You really got to watch out for that. But come guys, the floor is open. Anthony, I can see you on the screen. Buyile, is there anything you would like to add? Chauke, you there as usual?
Yes, I'm here, Clifford. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed. I feel like this is the way to go, and there's no doubt about it. I'm actually surprised that Wande has been part of this and has never invited me all along. For me,
so childcare, I need to tell you that Amini lives across the road from your school. You better go and find him, because when I told him that Norcombe Park was on this program, he says, oh, no, I can look out over my garden fence and I can see Norcombe Park. So never mind Wandi. I think you better go find Amini, who lives across the road, and bring him into your school.
Yeah, I think you are right, Clifford. Amini, you've got to come and see me. It's important. I've got a couple of teachers in here. They're also listening. So please come join us. Let's see what we can do.
My pleasure. Probably tomorrow. We may hook up tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clifford,
there we go.
A comment from Mr. Ramabulana from Fosslerus. I'm not sure if he wants to just say something.
Tom, you need to unmute yourself.
Yes, it's just that I've been disturbed. But the thing is, as a school, we have Amanda is part of us, and we have a guy who was trying to come aboard with this robotics, but I think maybe COVID has affected them. But with Amini's input, I think I'll be forced, as from tomorrow, just to go to the guys and encourage them, because it seems like our school is lagging behind and we need to catch up, especially because our school is a comprehensive school. So we need a lot of technicians and IT guys from that particular school. So I think I'd like to say Clifford and Amini, thank you very much. You're doing a lot of a very good job. Thanks.
Tom, but just to give you and Fosslerus Comprehensive the credit for being the host of the Karabo Center. I mean, I think, you know, from everyone else's perspective, you guys are doing a great job in terms of hosting that center. And I'm going to share what you've been doing with ORT and Ariellah and Amini, and hopefully they'll bring their program to your school as well. I think your school's earned it. You've done a lot of great outreach work for your own community. And what I'll do is I'll make the link to Ariellah and Amini with your particular school, and let's see if we can encourage ORT. I think the difficulty, I mean, Ariellah might correct me, but they have to raise funding, and they need funding support, you know, to go into different schools. And I don't know the state of the funding support that they have, but hopefully, you know, we'll be able to put some of the schools on our program, onto their pipeline list to think about bringing their programs into your schools. Ariellah, what's the process to get you to adopt schools?
So Clifford, my suggestion is that you send us the names of schools and principals. There are many ways that we can collaborate with schools. I don't know if you noticed in a mini presentation, one of the things we did is that we are in an implementation partner of YES. Yeah. So we can look at various ways that we can work with the schools in whatever means we have. So for example, for next year, we are looking, please God, to get more partnerships with YES. So, you know, maybe one of the things we can do is work on placement of YES youth placed in the school. And then what we did, for example, last year, before COVID-19, is we trained the youth that was placed in school on Google CS, which is a curriculum science, it's a curriculum for computer science that comes from Google. We trained the interns that were placed in the schools to implement it in the school. So there are many ways that we can work with schools. The other way, obviously, we would love to continue to expand on the coding clubs. So, you know, do give us the details of the schools. Mpo Matlala, who heads the STEM Academy, is on continuous search for funding. And there may be opportunities even now for us to work with your schools, even in the current situation, because what we do in schools that have the facilities and the connectivity we'll probably be able to work with. So if you give us those details, we are able to continue, we maybe even be able to do something immediately.
You know, when you mention the connectivity, of course, the 5 schools we have on this program, we're supporting the hotspots. So I guess we definitely must have that conversation as to how we can extend something via these pre-existing hotspots into these schools. But I'll contact you offline. Bronwyn will send you the links to, you know, all the principals of each school. But maybe we can leverage off the hotspots, and we can find another way to prove a pilot that if the hotspots are in more schools, there is a way to, you know, introduce, let's say, enriched and enhanced teaching and learning, exactly what you guys are doing.
Yes, agree. Happy.
Good. Okay, so one more round, if anyone wants to add. Otherwise, I think we're going to wrap up, and we'll give it to Amini just to do a closure. But a little bit of a countdown. Session. Okay, so Amini, do you just want to close off?
Okay, thank you. All right, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending this session. I hope this has been helpful, and it has given you some insight on how you can use technology and also its importance to the learners. Should you wish to explore some of our products, feel free, like my CEO has indicated, to say you may contact her or the STEM manager, and we can see how we can assist each other. Thank you also to Vula Amehlo for the opportunity that you have given to us to present what we do, and also to share our knowledge in the field of education. Thank you very much for the opportunity.